Hello, welcome to the Physique Mastery Podcast. This is Scott Tousignant along with Bryan Krahn. Today we're going to be talking about cheat meals, giving our insights on it, approach that we feel is optimal, or the smarter mastery experience approach to cheat meals, both for fat loss as well for muscle building. And cheat meals have been something around for quite a while. First time I was really exposed to it was probably 15 years ago or so. It all came down to calorie cycling, and I've always found myself, when I was trying to lose weight, I gained a bunch of weight. Over a course of 10 years, I was trying to lose that weight. And I always found that it was great for 3 days in a row, and then I'd lose it on the fourth day and just go nuts. As soon as I caved in, I just threw in the towel, said, all right, I'll start again tomorrow. And so when I came across the kind of the typical calorie cycling approach of 3 days low calorie, 1 day refeed, whether you call it a refeed, cheat day, whatever the heck, that appealed to me. I'm like, all right, now that I have this planned refeed in place, it's okay. It's almost like I gave myself permission. It's no longer me losing control. It's me saying, all right, I can be good for 3 days, but on the fourth day, if I give myself just a little bit more, that's going to help me stick to the plan over the course of the long term. And then as I got better at that, I began to think, well, could I push that 3 days a little bit further? And I pushed it to 5 days, then 7 days. And next thing you know, I'm like, 2 weeks, and I'm like, wow, God, I guess I don't really need a cheat. And I kind of embraced the hunger. It's not like it was easy. It's just that, did I really need the cheat? In the beginning, I think it was good because it did help me get out of that all or nothing approach there. But I think over time, you realize that those cheats, it's probably more of a psychological benefit than a physiological benefit. Because in the beginning, the calorie cycling, everything was all about to prevent your metabolism from crashing, going into starvation mode and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's certainly not the case 3, 4, 5 days into it.
Starvation mode,
yeah. So what are your thoughts on cheat meals and just get things rolling here?
It's all how you look at it, and the bottom line is people want to eat, and people want to eat the foods that they enjoy, that make them feel good. And obviously especially when you're on a fat loss diet, you can't eat those foods, or at least not in any quantity that you want to. So all of a sudden it's off limits, and that's people don't like having things off limits, and it creates anxiety, and it creates it's the pink elephant in the room. You can't stop thinking about it. So, I can't have that now, or I can only have a little bit of it. And so for some people, letting them have, you get your cheat meal, and it's always once a week. You get your cheat meal once a week now, and that can keep them on track. It gives them something to look forward to, and they can kind of build their life around it, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But I think where it kind of runs into problems is if you're honest and you're like, okay, this is just something that it gives me something to look forward to. Otherwise, I break down and I go crazy. If you're honest with yourself, then that's great. But it's when people kind of delude themselves into thinking, well, I'm gonna upregulate my metabolism, and I'm gonna stimulate this hormone and do that and refill glycogen, blah blah blah. Then I think that kind of excessive rationalization, that's when things can kind of fall apart. But yeah, man, I mean, certainly dieting, you need to have periods where you bring your calories up. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And
but it doesn't necessarily have to be on a set date. It's almost like the set date. Because there's days where it'd be, all right, today's my day for a cheat meal. I'm like, I don't really need it today. So why would I bother? Roll with that. But you're gonna get through your cutting phase a lot faster if you can
exactly
keep going.
I'm so glad I'm glad you said that, because people honestly think that if they keep cheating, having these periodic cheats, that they're gonna make their diet go faster, and that's so rarely the case. Yeah, there's times when you spike calories and it does kickstart things, but for the most part, every time you have a cheat meal, you slow shit down.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because if you look at things from a big picture, if you're just slowing things down a little bit, like once a week, 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of shit, it works out. But
That's definitely the way it worked for me during my cutting phase. And it's because I'm experienced. I love stepping on the scale every day to spot the trends. So I'd have my cheat meal was every Friday night out with the guys, indulge in whatever foods we brought, have some alcohol. Not every time, but during the cutting phase, there's a few times where I had some drinks. And I'd gain 3 pounds the next day. And it usually took me 3 to 4 days for that to level off again. Mm-hmm. And then I'd make some pretty rapid progress over the next few days and the week. So for me, seeing that scale weight go up, I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. I know 3 or 4 days, it's going to be gone. And I know there's going to be a rapid drop after that to wrap things off. So it was an up and, like you said, the 2 steps back, 3 steps forward type thing. And I was accustomed to that approach, but at the same time, it can play, it can have a negative impact on some people. They don't like seeing that scale go up and down. So some of those people may be better off just trying to keep things as consistent as possible for the most part.
Yeah, like maybe a little bit of a softer deficit and just kind of get in a groove and just not have deviations, or maybe like once a month kind of thing. Yeah. And certainly there's merit to that. That works very, very well.
Yeah.
It's such an individual thing. It really depends on the personality and the goal. And
Yeah. And for me, it was very lifestyle dependent because I am out with the guys every Friday night. And the reason I had that as my refeed is because I found if I tried to be good on that day, it stressed me out. I was like, oh my God, there's all these temptations around. There's no freaking way I can do it. I break down and beat myself up for breaking down. And
exactly.
Whereas if I'm like, all right, Friday, I'm out with the guys, I'm free. I'm giving myself permission to, if I'm hungry, if I want to have that treat, if I want to have a drink here, I'll have it. It doesn't mean I have to hit a certain caloric target. It doesn't mean I have to go all out and bonkers because it's my cheat meal. It's just I give myself freedom that day. And a lot of times, just having that freedom, knowing that I can have it, sometimes I'm like, it takes some of the pressure off. It takes the stress off. Like, maybe I don't really need it, and I'll just have a little bit here and there. It's good enough for me to carry on, and then get back with my day the next time.
Yeah, like if you don't have a very, very imminent goal, like something that's coming up relatively soon, a hard date, whatever that is, then man, like take your cheat meal, whatever, once a week, whatever, and just build it around your social life. Like, why not just do it that way? I mean, it's just like what you do. It just makes so much more sense because then you can actually enjoy your life a little bit, enjoy this process, and not have that, kind of anxiety. And lots of people have that. I mean, that's the number one thing that kills a diet is diet or anxiety.
Yeah.
Because, so it's, I think that's a great approach. But,
and then, how about for muscle building? Because like with the whole, when you're in a deficit, it is more of a psychological thing. You're in it, you're dieting down, especially the leaner you get, it can get challenging. And even if you don't physiologically need the thing, even if it's more of and you're catching yourself thinking, I don't physically need this food. It's more of an emotional thing. And you got to be careful in those moments, but you kind of need them a little bit more when you're cutting. Whereas in a muscle building phase, you don't need to plan a cheat day when you're muscle building. You can kind of just let them happen. Like muscle building phase, it gives you some more freedom. Basically, you don't need to say, all right, going to pig out once a week here and fill out and all that shit. Just again, life events happen. You can indulge, you can enjoy yourself, but you still got to keep things in check for most of the week. But you're eating more. You shouldn't feel like, oh my God, I really need a cheat day here. If you feel like you really need a cheat day, you're probably not eating enough during the week to sustain your muscle building efforts there.
Well, it's just it's so much more. You have to differentiate between like a craving and an actual hunger. You shouldn't, if you're in a muscle building phase, I'm not saying you should always be stuffed, but your meals should be big enough that they satiate you at least to your next meal. So you're certainly not starving.
Right.
So anything, that just leaves cravings, and cravings are, that's cool. Everyone has cravings, but just kind of recognize that you're really craving pizza, but don't kind of trick yourself that you need pizza.
Right.
It's just like you're just craving it.
Don't trick yourself thinking that, well, I'm in a muscle building phase. It's okay. I can eat all the pizza I want. No, you still got to be smart about it. You have the freedom to have some pizza if it fits. If it's in there, if you're not being gluttonous and crazy with it. But big difference between those feelings of cravings and needing to get in the calories for sure.
Yeah, like I think, if you're in a muscle building phase and you're in a slight surplus, maybe one day a week, you don't intend, you don't make it your goal just to eat all day, but maybe you make it a goal, I'm going to kind of eat what I want for the last half of this day. It's like anything. People have habits, and then they rationalize them later. Usually, sometimes it's something that sounds really scientific. Like they're like. And meanwhile, and often it's just to rationalize binge behavior.
Yes.
Really. And it's.
It can really set you up for problems. It's definitely I definitely see people's cheat days, cheat meals turn into a very bad habit. And that's usually when it carries over into a muscle building phase. Well, I need this cheat day. You're just so used to cheating that you just don't need it. And I think that's another point too, is that we're talking about cheat meals. Like there are people, I think Bill Phillips back in the day with his Body for Life program was a whole like cheat day thing. And I've heard other people, their programs just freaking go all out all day long. And I think there's one thing, giving your day where you give yourself freedom to eat certain foods, some of your favorite foods, but still keeping it in check. But really, I think we're big on structure, consistency, and if you just fit it into one meal where you have that extra bit of freedom there, it's still keeping that meal reasonable. There's no reason to be gluttonous. Very rare. Yeah. There's the odd time. If you're having a great time and a great party, and you've been awesome for 4 to 6 weeks, like, I'm going all out right now. This is just so okay. We all have those times, but it shouldn't be a weekly basis where you're completely pigging out like crazy.
And so much depends on a person's just their relationship with food and their diet history. Like I have people say, okay, one day a week, just kind of eat what you want, and then they'll tell me about it, and it's like, oh yeah, I went for lunch and I had a burger and fries, and then for dinner I had a serving of ice cream, and now I'll be like, okay, well that's pretty tame. Whereas other people, they just downloaded it, and I couldn't stop eating, and then I ate this, and then I ate that, and then I bought this, and I ate the whole whatever, they ate a whole cake, and I just couldn't stop, and then that's what makes me nervous. Like, okay, you don't want to, you don't want to encourage that behavior where they lose that feeling of control, like where they feel so helpless that. So I mean that's something I try to. Whatever I could do to not get them in that situation.
Correct. Yeah. I've been there, and I've been there on.
Well, fuck yeah. I get there all the time.
It's probably like nine years ago or so when I followed a plan where cheat days, full out, all out cheat days were built in the program. I think there's a complete fast day the next day afterwards. So you didn't eat at all because you're so freaking sick. Like they encourage just go gluttonous on that day, and you're not going to eat the next day. So you're thinking in your head, it's my cheat day. You start Jesse. You're like, well, I got to eat something. It's my cheat day. You start looking. You're not even hungry. You don't even want it. It's my cheat day. What can I have next? What can I have next? Because I'm going to be depriving myself for a few days after. Right? Yeah. I think that's one of the things where the flexible dieting movement has been beneficial. Where you, if you're having allowing yourself to have certain foods every day, as long as it fits into your target, your calorie, as long as you're not being stupid with it all. Eat things within moderation each day. That works, and you kind of don't need a cheat day if you're allowing those things in there. Whereas if you're trying to be perfect all the time, then you kind of run into those moments where you feel like you need something a little bit more.
And I mean, like in a really extreme, extreme diet, especially towards the end, having these calculated refeeds are definitely beneficial.
Yeah.
Definitely beneficial. But even then I get nervous when people, that control like completely, it just, I don't know. I just think it does more. It does more damage than good, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, as you're getting towards the end of a cutting phase, the leaner you are, we've talked about this before, where you can't necessarily trust your intuition and what's going on in your mind as well. And you're thinking, maybe my body really does need this right now. Like, your body's fighting back at that point, and it's giving you all the cues and signals to freaking go all out and binge. But yeah, those are definitely times you really need to keep things in check. Pay attention to those cravings and emotional signals that are going on there.
Yeah, well, I still make that mistake. I gained a bunch of weight in Austin by going there right after a diet. And I was just like, oh wow, barbecue! Like, okay. 5 days later, okay. But that's I mean, live and learn.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right, gang. There is, I think that's our insights for cheat meals. Again, it's going to be very individual. But yeah, just pay attention if you are including cheat meals in your plan, whether you're muscle building or in a fat loss mode. Just think to yourself, like, why am I doing this? Do I really need this? And how much of a refeed or cheating do I really need here? Just be aware of what's going on. What's your thought process as you're eating, as you're consuming the cheat meals? Are you justifying it? Are you losing control at certain points? Just be aware of certain triggers and stuff that's going on throughout that process.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Catch you next time for another episode of Physique Mastery Podcast.
Ooh.